Hello there everybody, this is Alex from Hardcorian Guides, bringing my guide for Transformers Devastation on Prime difficulty. Today we're doing Chapter 2, the Proudstar. So, just like before, carrying off from where we left off, we're heading out of Chapter 1, City of Steel. I forgot the name of it last time, but yeah, with this chapter, it's actually much shorter than Chapter 1, which is pretty nice. It's always nice to have a small and, decent sized chapter. I prefer those over like the really long ones. I end up, well, getting hit like a moron there. That's on the, of course, the fault of mine. So, no fights just yet. Right now we have these little tricky bomb things we gotta shoot at to blow up. You could, technically let them blow up themselves when you walk up to them, but who needs that? So, I just wanna get to my next destination, please. And I think our first fight should be with some Seekers, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, here they are. Alright, so, Seekers just like last time. This time, I think they introduced the ones that actually had the dual blades. I'm pretty sure they were introduced in the first chapter. I don't remember exactly, but I don't remember finding them too often. But they definitely do show up more often in these later chapters, of course. These are usually the ones that tend to stay more ground-based and try to fight you. They're essentially using Sideswipe's dual blades, which is kind of neat how they actually reuse some of the stuff. But for the most part, Seekers are relatively easy to deal with. They're usually just more so fodder than anything because they have really low HP, and gunshots just seem to do quite a lot of damage to them, especially the types of guns that I've been focusing on. That's another thing I want to get into too, is you could synthesize your weapons together to kind of make them stronger. So that's what I recommend doing, especially if you have a favorite gun. Just try to level yourself up if you're having trouble. See where you need to level up in. And also, I'm not using tech this time. I forgot in my original playthrough I had actually mentioned that I'm not using any tech, but that wasn't technically true. I had like 2 different tech pieces on for Optimus, and they didn't really do anything specific that were really that game-changing anyway. But still, though, I just wanted to admit that I feel kind of dumb that I forgot about that. So, yeah. I'm also trying to go for these barrel things here so I can get some health out of it, because, damn. Also, yeah, I actually got my full health back. Well, the reason why is because I actually died on this part, because this part actually gave me some trouble. So, the trick with this one is you want to go into the Transformer time, and then you want to, go into the slowdown. So let's just call it Witch Time. It's just easier that way. It sounds less weird if I call it that. So yeah, you want to go into your Witch Time mode here and, shoot the Sentry Bot with any type of gun. Also, getting transfixed just sucks. But the only way I can find out of it that I think seems to work the most often seems to be just punching out of it. I don't know if that's 100% accurate or if it works all the time, but every time I do get transfixed by any type of attack like that, I essentially just punch my way out. So, yeah, shooting the Sentry Bot and shooting the mines that freeze enemies around is relatively helpful. And, of course, hitting these crates to get your energy back, which is always nice. That's always something to keep an eye out for, too. Because guns are relatively useful in this game. Just like with Lollipop Chainsaw, where gun is just relatively good. And here, it's the same case. So, now we're going to go to our next destination, and we're going to end up fighting some more Insecticons eventually. Running into those guys, I think I only get like half health. I don't even know if I even killed them. I think I just knocked them down to half health, but I did die on this part here as well. But, well, here we are. So, these are the... we did get to see the Insecticons earlier, but I think that's like, what, a smaller version, if not maybe a bigger version of Kickback? I don't remember. I think that's Kickback and Bombshell. I think Bombshell is just... I don't know. I don't know specifically. I'm kind of dumb, but there's the ones that fly that shoot down the lightning strikes, and those ones are relatively easy to deal with, especially since you can just shoot them in the air. And not only that, but their telegraphed attacks of lightning attacks are relatively nice to have because it's just free Witch Time at that point. But so now we have to fight the big versions of Bombshell and Kickback, and God, man, the Insecticons. I mean, I honestly think they're probably some of the coolest of the enemy variety that we have, but holy crap, are they just, devastatingly ridiculous sometimes with their attacks. I mean, Constructicons are one thing, but Insecticons themselves can be, you know, they can be kind of ruthless. Let's just be honest. Let's give them the credit for that. So yeah, just do what you do normally, of course. I mean, that's the best advice I can give for that. You know, just punch, dodge, that type of thing. But do be careful, because again, they are quite the aggressive type. But usually the bombshells that are on the ground, like the smaller versions of them, are usually on the ground, are sometimes really easy to deal with. It's just the ones in air are just annoying, especially when you have to protect Wheeljack, which luckily you only have to do like twice in this entire game. But unfortunately for somebody like me who's playing through this game multiple times, I will have to protect Wheeljack multiple times. So yeah, these closing doors, they change, of course. You know, dodge through them easy enough. You don't even have to worry about the small Insecticons, which I think is actually kind of a cool little detail, just having them there, because why not, you know? I don't know, it's just one of those cool things. And like I said earlier, I'm starting to think the Insecticons are probably some of my favorite designs of the Transformers. Probably because it's probably like in line with the fact that I like the Visorak from like Bionicle. I about said the Bionicle Heroes, but I like the Visorak from Bionicle. I always thought they were kind of cool, and I always wanted all 6 of them, but never got my hands on it. So this fight, now we're fighting Soundwave. He's actually one of the more weaker boss fights, in my opinion. Not because like he has a bad design or anything like that. I just think he just doesn't have enough health to really, you know, last. It's the same thing with Starscream, where Starscream's not really that strong, which I do like. Is just how there are bosses that aren't incredibly too powerful. And he also doesn't have too many ridiculously damaging attacks. The most he can really do to you is just kind of push you away. He's more of a defensive type fight, which is kind of nice. He's not nearly as aggressive as some of them are. So with him, you could take out his little cassettes, which I just want to say is just one of the coolest freaking things ever. By the way, like, that's not even a joke. I actually think that's pretty damn cool. And I think, I'm pretty sure he can't transform, because I think his transform state was him being a cassette player, correct? If I'm not mistaken. But luckily for us, you only have to get him down to half health, because this is not where we actually end up killing him at. Instead, we only just, you know, pretty much defeat him. He runs away. He shakes his fist at us and he says, "Curse you, Autobots," and he runs away. Well, actually, that's more so Starscream that curses us, but still, Soundwave basically does the same thing. He just F's off for a little bit, so, yeah. I forget if he actually comes back in this chapter or if it was a different chapter. We do fight him again, of course. And he is a pretty cool fight. And also the music is just wonderful. Just wonderful. So now we're in this next section with more Insecticons, and you'll probably notice that in Chapter 2, there just seems to be a lot of Insecticons showing up, and, well, yeah, that's pretty much just what it is. There's just a lot of damn Insecticons showing up. So you'll deal with them a lot, and you'll deal with these increasing towers. They remind me of, I know I'm kind of a loser for saying this, but they remind me of Bionicle's, what the hell were they called? Oh, I think it ends with an S, like Play-Doh. What the fuck were they called? I don't even remember. But if you guys know what I'm talking about, then you know what I'm talking about. If you're in the know, you're in the know. But I'm talking about that type of stuff, like that black. I don't think it was gooey, but that type of stuff that had like the hexagonal look to it that would actually like lift up, kind of like this, like these little platforms do themselves. And I don't remember what that frick it was called, and my brain is just not working with me. And to be fair, hey, it's been like what, 10 plus years since Bionicle's been out anyway. I mean, even after Hero Factory, they released that new set of Bionicle, but even then still, like, I don't remember anybody really caring or really talking about it too much. I think they only sent out like just the one set. I'm not even sure. Speaking of those, I've been wanting to get my hands on more again, not just as a collector, but just, well, kind of to collect them, but just because I think it'd be kind of cool to have the ones I never had, but they're so damn expensive, and I pretty much just missed out, and that kind of sucks, you know. I wish certain toy lines would just come back, but what can you do? What can I say? What can I say? So yeah, again, this fight, I would admit, probably isn't even really too difficult. It's mostly just the rising platforms that make things seem like they're a lot harder, but they're really not. Also, your ability doesn't really seem to work all that great on Insecticons when they're just anybody when they're transformed, because you can't really do anything about it. Like, only when they're not in their vehicle state can you really do your ability on them. So now we have another little fun little platform section. So that's what Chapter 2 is really all about. It's kind of introducing different types of elements into... oh, that was also a really nice dodge, by the way. Oh, yeah, I did die here. That's why you probably saw a cut. But, yeah, they introduced different types of elements. There's a lot more Insecticons. There's a lot more, like, tricks and traps, lasers, and that type of stuff. And a lot more platforming, which is nice. So it kind of, you know, breaks the pace a little bit, which is always great. And speaking of breaking the pace, eventually, not right now, but eventually we'll get to a part where we're going to have a turret section, and it's not that bad, trust me. I could have fast-forwarded through it, but I just left it as is because it's not even that long, actually. I remember when I first originally played this, I was like, you know, a turret section, but now I'm just kind of like, I kind of like it, you know, like, it's an easy SS rank. It's not that bad to get, you know, double S on. So, I also hate saying SS. It's weird. But, yeah, I just say, I guess at that point, I just say screw it. If I can continue on, I might as well continue on. Because I think those first Insecticons, I think you had to fight. But if you don't have to fight, and you don't want to fight, don't. So, there you go. I'm having a ridiculous amount of time doing this because I thought R2 was to shoot. So, that was kind of my bad. But this part's kind of fun because it's essentially just, you know, Galaga, Galaxian, Space Invaders type thing. And it's just kind of funny because they are bugs and they're... It's just a fun little nod if that's what they were going for. I'm guessing that's what it was. But this part actually is just... I like this part. I'm actually kind of glad that there's only one turret section in the entire game, which is crazy to think about. Besides maybe like the challenge modes, in the actual story mode itself, there's only just the one turret section. And to me, that right there shows confidence in your game because you don't have to rely on too many, you know, silly gimmicks to make your game fun and cool. And that's what I liked about Platinum before what they've turned into nowadays, which is unfortunately the Babylon's Fall event type thing going on. Or, as we could probably also call it, Platinum's Fall from Grace. But they can always still come back. It's not like they're completely dead or, you know, screwed completely, of course. It's just unfortunate with the type of stuff they seem to be just working on nowadays. And speaking of them, I hadn't really liked them since their Square acquisition, I think, or whatever. Like whenever they got, I think, didn't they get bought out, or was it just like they're working together? Either way, I'm not a big fan of Nier Automata, so you might not see that one on this channel too much. Unless I just somehow end up actually liking Nier Automata, then that could happen. I know, it's blasphemy, but I've tried it a couple times. I just can't get into it. For me, it's not the type of Platinum game I'm looking for. To me, it's more of a Square Enix game than it is a Platinum game. Not that Square Enix sucks or anything like that, necessarily. I do like some other games. It's just that what I was kind of expecting just didn't end up being exactly that, and I'm just being a whiny little baby. How about that? But yeah, I tried it a couple times, quite a few times, and it's not Platinum enough. And I know that's weird, but yeah. And then TMNT was another thing too that at the time when I originally played it, I actually loathed it. I hated it, but I eventually actually started to enjoy it a little bit. Like last time I played it, I actually thought it was not that bad. I just wish it had offline co-op, but luckily for us, we're getting 1, a new TMNT beat-em-up game, and 2, the TMNT collection, which I am looking forward to. I am so gonna get that son of a bitch. So, yep, now we get to fight Bombshell, but as a boss, and I think eventually Kickback himself shows up as a boss. It's kind of weird because like these are just normal enemies, and they make them into an actual full-on boss fight because they give them a health, you know, a health bar and everything. Not just like a mini-boss health bar, but like an actual regular boss health, which is pretty crazy. Also, getting hit by that purple stuff does cause you to stun, but you can break out of it by, you know, going into witch, like dodging and going into the witch time type thing. So, okay, maybe Kickback didn't show up right now. Maybe I'm probably thinking about later, but I could have sworn Kickback shows up to help out his buddy, but we don't. Yeah, Bombshell, in my opinion, I think is definitely one of the more cooler ones because I do kind of like Beetles to an extent. Looking more so at like Beetlemon, I think that's what his name was from Digimon. Digimon Season 4 with the guy that could turn into the tank. I always thought he was kind of the cool one. And I used to actually, funny story about that. I used to have a figure of a Gunimon, like an actual like full-size figure that could be moved and stuff. I used to have a Gunimon, and I left it in my mom's room for like, oh yeah, I died. I forgot about that, but I got auto repaired, so it don't matter. Yeah, there you go. I'm out of auto repairs. Cool. So yeah, I used to leave in my mom's room because I used to be afraid of him, mainly because he looked too human-like, and I was really scared of toys that were human-like at the time because I had watched the Toy Soldiers movie, and it scared the shit out of me as a kid. So yeah, and also that part with Sid in Toy Story, that was pretty scary. Just those, weird-looking, like mutated, combined toys that Sid made. Toy Story 1 was freaky. But yeah, oh yeah, and I also finally, like not that long ago, like a month ago or so, I actually beat Toy Story 2 for PlayStation 1. Pretty neat platformer. I never had beaten it before. I only played it like when I was a kid, like once, and then I bought it on the PlayStation 3 years back, and then I finally just beat it. So, oh man, this part, oh. So this thing kind of sucks because it did kill me quite a bit, but so now we get to fight Kickback, and then I think Bombshell shows up himself, so I guess I got it wrong, but here we are on Mission 11. Oh yeah, by the way, there are side missions, of course, that you can do, and I think they're mostly just used to increase your score. As far as I'm aware, if you're going for, the double S rank, you don't really need to technically do all of them, from what I've heard. You can still get double S rank no matter, like, just in general, but I don't know. That's a whole separate guide for other types of stuff, too, so yeah. That's not in my league of knowledge, unfortunately. As much as I'm sure some people, or even just myself, would like to, admit, then, yeah. But yeah, Bombshell has this other attack he's got an AoE attack that basically explodes. I mean, his name is Bombshell for, crying out loud, so I think he probably would do that. And then you have, what's that, Scrapnel? So he's got like a double sword attack. He's probably like he's definitely probably one of the more aggressive ones, whereas Bombshell just kind of hangs back and just explodes every once in a while. So for me personally, I recommend going for Bombshell first, so that way you get rid of the AoE attack that could, in theory, just be devastating. And I mean, this is Transformers Devastation. You kind of don't want you don't want to be devastated. You want them to devastate. So yeah, just go for just either go for him or go for the one that's shooting. Just go for Scrapnel first. Which I think Shrapnel was the one shooting. No, let me get back. Either way, yeah, that's all three of them. It's nothing really too crazy. I mean, they're just essentially just your run-of-the-mill, giant versions of the Insecticons themselves. So you just do what you normally do, and everything works out just fine. Dodge and all that other key fun stuff. So yeah, I guess I forgot to cut that part. Yeah, I died like once or twice on here. So this part, it really just kind of sucks because, especially on Prime difficulty, when it's just a tad bit more tanky. And the problem is, like, once you get knocked all the way back, you have to drive with, like, a bunch of Insecticons just pretty much on your ass trying to attack you. So I just recommend, just driving up and just trying to stay as close to this thing as possible to not get blown all the way back. Because you don't want to fall off, and you don't want to get attacked by, like, a bunch of enemies at once. Because it just sucks. And whenever they, start sending down lightning strikes on you, you might as well use it to your advantage to get some free hits in. Granted, the timer doesn't slow down, but the fact of the matter is, at least his crap slows down. But yeah, unfortunately, I still got blown back anyway. I mean, that's just what's going to happen. I mean, what can you do? Just avoid the enemies. Don't worry about them. You're on a time limit after all, so it's just better just to take out this thing. But that's it for the main boss of this chapter, and that's it for chapter 2. So I'll see you guys in the next chapter 3, which is called The Core. So take care, everybody.